Action. Hello, and good evening. My name is McCarty, and this is my show, Tonight Last Week, because it can't be called Last Week Tonight because of copyright issues. I am a freshman physics major here at the marvelous, stupendous, and utterly fabulous St. Louis University. A university so great, in fact, that would allow an 18-year-old to rant about their newly formed dining hall. Alright, hopefully that'll get them on my side. Consider I'm starting off with a good rubby-dubby stuff about them. And then I'm not even going to bring up the issues with the ice cream machine that happens like every week. So, we're still recording. Next slide. Well, the issue we're going to be talking about today is whether or not SLU Grand Dining should offer more organic and less processed food. Now, a little bit of context for this discussion. From the year 1990 to the year 2008, organic foods and beverages went from a mere $1 billion industry to a staggering $21.1 billion industry. Now, a lot may ask, why is that? And one of the main answers is, the hipsters are taking over. Now, that is only partially correct. Actually, there is a wealth of scientific data explaining there are legitimate concerns with highly processed and inorganic foods that are making more and more people switch to organic foods. So what is the difference between organic and conventional foods? Well, organic products are made without the use of synthetic chemicals, hormones, antibiotic agents, genetic engineering, and irradiation in either produce or livestock. And for livestock, they also have to be fed organic feed in order to maintain the title organic. Now, on the other hand, you have conventional foods, which are allowed to use all of those processes within their food making processes. So how do these differences actually translate into differences of health? Well, the first and most important that is mainly brought up is conventional foods' use of pesticides. Now, pesticides themselves, not when in food, have been researched and linked to multiple different problems such as respiratory problems, memory disorders, dermatologic conditions, depression, neurologic defects, including Parkinson's disease, and then miscarriages, birth defects, and even cancer. Now, what's incredibly scary is that the National Research Council reported that in 1993, the primary form of exposure to these pesticides in children is through dietary intake. And seeing how that report was from 1993, that puts many of the students here at SLU well within the age group of those children that are receiving the pesticides through dietary intake. And then another difference is that organic foods show greater potential for the prevention of cancer. Now, obviously, very hot topic issue, has to be looked at. In a study for potential vegetables to suppress the mutagenicity of various environmental toxins, including BAP and main carcinogen, cigarette smoke, and auto exhaust, organic vegetables were more active than their conventional counterparts. Basically just a long scientific way of saying organic vegetables were better at preventing cancer. Not only that, organic foods are also more nutritious than their conventional counterparts. Regarding minerals, organic foods have 21% more iron and 29% more magnesium than non-organic foods. Another study put out by Worthington reported that 4 main ingredients were consistently found in large numbers in organic foods, such as ascorbic acid and phosphorus. Now, other benefits. There are environmental benefits as well. One statistic put out was that the world pesticide use exceeds 5 billion pounds in both 2000 and 2001, a cost of $64.5 billion just for with the United States accounting for 1.2 billion pounds per year and an annual cost of $11 billion. Now, the totals are staggering, and so too is the infantile amount of those 5 billion pounds a year that actually make it to target pests, which is less than 0.1%. So highly ineffective way of taking care of the pest problem with our produce. And then another thing is organic organic farms using no pesticides result in no runoff of these compounds that can potentially have adverse effects on the surrounding environment and community. Organic farms also use less energy and produce less waste than that of its conventional counterpart. A 20-year study conducted by Cornell University over organic versus conventional farming methods concluded that organic farms used in the study produced comparable numbers of crops, so it produced about the same number of crops, and generated half of the emissions that conventional farms do, or 30%. Now the thing is, these can be considered side arguments considering these don't directly affect SLU. But if you want to look at the higher purpose and greater good motto that we endorse here, we should be taking into account how we affect the community around us. And then that is what a result of these conventional farming methods is. Tons of CO2 emissions. Now, how does this all relate to highly processed foods? Well, organic products would be of greater nutritious benefit for students, but if these organic products were then highly processed, it would defeat the purpose. It would almost defeat the purpose. You see, processed foods are not always a bad thing. A processed food could be something as simple as cooking a steak. Processing a food is just to increase its longevity or make the food edible. So something like smoking meat would both cook the food and increase its longevity, which isn't a bad thing. However, it gets bad whenever they take it to the extreme. Many food producers today, in an effort to reach maximum longevity of their products, will remove important ingredients such as fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and substitute it with sugars, fats, and sodium to increase shelf life. A study from 2016 determined that more than half of the calories consumed in the U.S. come from these foods directly. And then another research team found that in Brazil, they analyzed dietary information from 9,317 children, teens, and adults from the U.S. in 2009-2010 National Health Nutrition Examination Survey. They found that ultra-processed foods accounted for almost 60% of total calories and 90% of the excess sugar consumed. And what is the worst thing about this is that companies will add chemicals intentionally to induce craving for these products. Compounds such as MSG, which cause things such as headaches and stomach pains, but when consumed in large amounts also create an addiction for these products. Now, why do we not always buy organic foods? Simple, it's cost. Cost is the main determinant for why we don't buy organic foods. Because so far there has been no statistics out there that prove that conventional foods have more nutritional value or do better for the environment. So why would we not buy organic foods? Simply cost. You see, organic foods price tag can go from anywhere from 10% to several times that more of conventional foods. So pretty obvious, it comes with a hefty price tag, much like a college tuition. So, however, there is a way to argue around this point. Considering it's the main argument for why we don't switch to organic foods, this definitely has to be addressed. You see, although SLU would have to make a slight increase in the budget for purchasing food, I believe other factors that would result from introducing more organic foods could mediate that price difference. Not entirely, but help reduce the costs. The increase in nutrition would also increase the general health on campus, making it so that students would have to visit the health center less, which would reduce medical costs, and then there would be greater productivity on campus because students and faculty would not only get sick less, but would also experience more mental health, making them more able to accomplish tasks, which has also been seen with organic products. So, in conclusion, this is a problem with SLU's dining hall that can be easily addressed and would benefit not only its students but also its faculty in many numerous ways. So, I propose a case study in which we test out the effectiveness of these organic foods by adding in more organic foods for an extended period of time and seeing how they do with the student population. We can take surveys and polls to see how the students react to this, and then we can make a decision farther from that as to whether or not we should implement this more on campus. This has been Derek McCarty signing off from Tonight Last Week, because it can't be called Last Week Tonight because of copyright reasons.